Welcome to the Bitter Coffee Podcast, a podcast by two friends who are pretty much over it. I'm Derek Fanton.
I am Kelly Coffey.
And you are listening to the inaugural episode of the Bitter Coffee Podcast. How excited are we?
I'm pretty excited. It's like if we were on a ship, it would be a maiden voyage.
It's true. So what is this thing all about, Kelly? Why in the world are we seated here in your office on this lovely summer day in northern Vermont?
Well, basically, long story short, about 35 years ago, I decided...
Going way back.
Way back. I decided I was one of those people that should probably be heard but not seen. Like a face made for radio.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Sure.
So I had this weird goal. I'm like, I'm going to be on the radio. And then that didn't happen because I didn't pursue it at all.
Right.
And then podcasts kind of came along.
Yeah. You were waiting for your moment, is what I'm hearing.
I was pacing myself.
Nice.
I don't want to jump in
Sure.
all at once. So I had a friend of mine at work who said, hey, we should do a podcast together. And that was, no lie, 4 years ago. So
that's the pace we're at.
Yep.
It's a glacial production.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
These things, they take time. So we came up with a name, and we thought it was really clever and really great. And then it just kind of stagnated for years. And without going into too much detail,
Maybe someday.
it didn't really take.
Gotcha.
So, I cried for a little bit, but I didn't let it show on the outside. There was an internal cry.
Right. We've all been there.
We have, and when I say internal cry, I really kind of mean it was like this rage.
Oh, okay. I see. It's a different kind of cry. Like a howl. Got it.
Yes. It was like a ragey howl that I internalized. And when you blow up a balloon
Yes.
and you blow it up to it's beyond capacity?
Yes.
And then you just let it go.
Yeah.
And it just kind of flies all over the room, and it's unpredictable.
Absolutely.
And it kind of makes that weird, mee sound. Until it just lands on the floor and goes to sleep.
Yes, I see.
Like a balloon rage.
Yeah. I get it. So that was the internal cry. Balloon rage style internal cry.
Yep.
Got it.
So filled with balloon rage,
Yep.
you came over one evening,
Mhm.
and I said, hey, why don't you and I just do this together?
What a great idea that was.
Isn't it
And
amazing?
here we are.
Here we are.
What a
Here we are.
fantastic inspiration.
I can't tell you how many different setups we've had between the initial setup and here we are right now. But let's just say that I am lucky enough. I don't want to brag, but I get to return $300 worth of acoustic squares. Yay.
Yay. I think we've
Yay.
all at some point in our lives wanted to be able to return $300 worth of acoustic squares because we thought to ourselves, we're going to record the podcast here, and then realized that we weren't, and then that we didn't need those acoustic squares anymore, and so now we get to send them back. It's really a dream come true.
You're absolutely right. But I have this thing in the back of my mind where I think, wait, maybe I'll need those. And I don't know if you have this issue. I don't know if anybody has this issue. I don't want to feel that I'm alone.
I feel like the people on Hoarders have this issue, but continue.
It's a very good point. You're not wrong. When I buy things, let's just say, hypothetically, if I buy something on Amazon, I worry about whether or not my wife's going to find out that I bought it. And it's not and I think you and I have had these discussions before. Derek, you and I share this love of audiophiles. Would you call us audiophiles?
Sure.
We have
I'd
this
go-
love of headphones.
I'd go that
and
far. Actual
stuff.
audiophiles will come at us for it, but that's fine.
Come at me, bro.
Exactly.
Or madam. And I will buy a pair of headphones, and then I'll buy another pair of headphones. And Michelle, my lovely wife, will say, well, don't you have headphones? And I'll say, I do, but I don't have these headphones.
Yeah.
These are different.
That's what I call just not getting it. That's what I call that.
Exactly.
I call that not getting it. Yes, I have headphones. I don't have these
I don't have
headphones.
these.
Yeah.
And I do the same thing with shoes.
Sure.
But it's really kind of hard to hide 400 sound acoustic squares.
They're bulky. They're bulky is the problem.
They're bulky.
Yeah.
I mean, they come in big boxes, so you look really strong when you pick them up, but they're really light, so... You're like oddly threatening for like 4 seconds.
Yeah, it's not like 7 headphone splitters that you bought just in case you lose the 1 or 3 or
And you have
5
an
that you
extra.
already had. Right.
One for the bag, one for
Right.
the desk, one for the car. You just...
Those are subtle.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can just, when you go to the mailbox, you could just stick those right in your jacket pocket and nobody knows.
Right.
I can't find a place to hide 400 acoustic squares.
Sure.
So, anyway, I just kind of slipped it into a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, what does your week look like? And she kind of told me about her week. And I said, yeah, I have classes this week. And Derek's coming over on Thursday. We got to get those acoustic squares up in the dining room. And the lovely thing was that she didn't bite. She didn't take the bait.
She's been at this show before.
Yep.
Not her first acoustic square rodeo.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
No, it is not.
I missed the opportunity for acoustic square dance, but we'll let it go.
No, I think we're going to have other opportunities.
We'll cut
right?
that in. We'll cut that in. It's fine.
Long story short, and you're going to probably hear that a lot from me, we decided instead of putting up these 400 acoustic squares, we'll just move everything into another room.
Like
Which involved moving furniture out.
8 feet. 8 feet or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't cost us $400.
No.
I don't know how much it cost.
Well, we're going to find out. The listeners are paying that cost right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll find out in the long run.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your flexibility and your willingness to embark upon this adventure with me. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to develop as we go, and that's kind of the plan, is we're going to kind of take things as they come and see where this adventure takes us. But I'm looking forward to it, and there's no one I'd rather do it with than you.
I think we're already having fun.
I think so too.
It's a great opportunity for That's What She Said.
I was waiting. I pregnant paused the That's What She Said.
I know.
Which she also said.
I know.
So that's fine.
So, I mean, as far as what the show's about, I really don't have any idea.
Yeah.
I think we'll have listeners that will maybe email us.
Yeah.
At bittercoffeepod@gmail.com.
Bittercoffeepod@gmail.com.
It's bitter and coffee, COFFEY, PUD @gmail.com.
Yep.
What I'd like people to do is send me an email, send Derek an email. Let us know if you like us, if you hate us.
Especially if you hate us. I feel like that would be a really good way to go. We could read some hate mail on the air. People love that kind of thing.
I encourage people to let me know if they hate me.
Boy, are we going to regret that. Boy, is that going to have been a mistake.
Derek, do you remember that one podcast we did way back in the day where we told people to email us if they hate us?
Remember we got all those emails and then we cried ourselves to sleep and never did another podcast? Do you remember that?
Remember when I had to leave the state? That was fun.
The people at Google wrote us a note and were like, we've seen some really unusual traffic coming your way, and it's concerning.
We need to shut you down.
I have to shut you down.
Find a safe house. Lay low for a little while. Well, here's some good news.
Okay, I'm ready.
Went to the eye doctor today.
Oh, excellent.
Yep, See, I'm one of those people. I've been wearing glasses since I was like 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So picking up frames, like that novelty is lost.
Yeah.
Like it's no longer fun, and I can look at frames and I could say, oh, I had these and I never liked them, or I had these frames and it was during like a really dark time in my life, or why did my life go to a different direction when I had those frames? So there's a lot of self-reflection when I'm picking out frames.
Uh-huh.
So
literally, because you have to look in a mirror the whole time.
Exactly. And I also, coupled with that pressure that I put on myself to pick out frames, is, and I think you and I talked about this, when I go to the eye doctor, same with the dentist and any other doctor, like I want to be the favorite patient.
Yeah.
I want to be that person like, yay.
Yeah, you want to be the person they're psyched to see.
I do. Like, I want to be like, all right, Kelly's here.
Yeah.
Things are going to get fun.
Right. Our other patients were shit, but Kelly's going to be great.
The first half of the day, nightmare.
Right.
And Kelly's going to be here at 2:15. Things are looking up.
If we can get to 2:15, we'll be fine.
We'll be great.
Yeah.
It's a Thursday at 2:15. Come on, 2:15. And
Kelly 15 as it's become known. Yeah.
It's coffee o'clock. And I like to get there early because I'm a very punctual person to the point where it's really annoying. And I also like to look at the frames just because I like to punish myself in that way. And my eye doctor is great. He's a fantastic person, but he tries a little bit too hard to be funny. He's like very, very sarcastic.
Okay.
And I'm okay with that.
Which can go either way for a healthcare professional.
Exactly.
I feel like you walk a very fine line.
Like, when he's looking at the inside of my eye, I get the, oh, boy. And I'm 50. I'm older. I've only got the one really good working eye, so for him to kind of make those jokes, it's a little weird.
Sure.
So I go into this appointment, and I haven't been there in a while, and he says, so, what's going on? How you been?
Yeah.
And I think he's asking just generally, how you doing?
I think that's what we all think when, like I said, a healthcare professional asks that question.
Yeah.
It's a general icebreaker.
I was like, oh, things are good, and classes have started up again, and work is really good, and Michelle's fine. And I went through this litany of things, and he just kind of gave me a look.
Right.
Like, he didn't care at all. And I didn't know what to say, because remember, I still want to be the favorite patient.
Right.
And I said, oh, and I'm starting a podcast.
Oh.
And I sit back in the chair, and he puts, I don't even know what it's called. It's the plastic machine that hasn't changed since the beginning of time that they put over your eyes. Better or worse? Better?
Yeah.
Worse, better, better, worse, better. He's doing that.
That's the optometry kaleidoscope, I believe is the name of that
think
machine.
So.
Yeah.
But
Pretty
he's really, really, really close to my face when he's doing this.
Okay.
And eye doctors specifically, when they're looking in your eyes, they always talk like their mouth is open a little bit. And he's like, so, when am I going to be on the podcast?
Concentration voice.
Yeah.
Oh, and he wanted to be on the podcast.
Wants to be on the podcast.
Oh.
So it wasn't an if, it was a when. So it just made things really awkward. I said, well, we're getting it off the ground now. And, we're trying to get the format down. So the second half of the appointment seemed to have gone downhill.
Yeah.
Because there was a rejection. There wasn't like, oh, what are you doing next week? I'd love to have you on.
Right.
We'd love to have eye doctors on the show.
Right. It's an
pretty
area
much
we're
what
looking
the
to focus
show's
on.
about.
Right.
Eye doctors. And the funny kind of stopped. And then he asked me how much sleep I was getting because my eyes are really blurry. In the morning.
Obviously you're clearly delirious because you don't want him on your podcast.
Right. Are you sleep deprived? Because you're not thinking clearly.
Yeah. Obviously.
Old lady.
Yeah.
And I said, I sleep about 9 hours a night. And I said, if I were a superhero, that would be my superpower.
Oh.
Like being able to fall asleep and stay asleep pretty much anywhere, anytime. And he had to leave the room to make a phone call, which I think was a lie.
Unless he was calling his agent and was like, you will not believe the turn down I got today about this podcast.
I thought I was in.
And I thought we had talked about this, about making sure people were aware of my podcast availability.
Yep. So he came back in the room, and I said, I would have fallen asleep, but the headrest is too far back, and I wasn't comfortable enough. Crickets. I got nothing.
I mean, you can't tell somebody that they can't be on your podcast, even though you certainly didn't say you can't be on my podcast.
No.
You can't allude to the fact that you don't want them on your podcast and then expect good optometry service.
I'm not the favorite patient. That's the takeaway message.
I'm so sorry, Kelly.
However,
this is a sad day for both of us.
it is.
Yeah.
On the optometry side, that's the person who makes your glasses and stuff, right?
Let's pretend that's true. I
think there's like ophthalmology and optometry.
Yeah, optometry. Okay. Yes, optometrist is the glasses ins and outs. Yes, good call.
So I was sitting with the optometrist, and I picked out my frames, and there's maybe 8 people that are around the area that I'm sitting in, and one of the other eye doctors, also not invited on the podcast, he kind of holds his phone up and he said, "Hey, you guys, Burt Reynolds just died." I thought he died a long time ago.
I think as did most of everyone.
And I turned to the woman next to me. I never met her before. I said, didn't he die in like 2004?
Right.
And she said, well, evidently he didn't. And then it just got really quiet in there because I couldn't tell if she was joking. I don't know if she wanted to be on the podcast. Do I just invite her on in order to like change the mood?
Well, she's very observant. I'll give her that.
Yeah.
Evidently he did not.
Evidently he did not.
Fair.
So then I looked at the optometrist and I said, and like more to the room than her, we're all going to remember where we were the day Burt Reynolds died. I don't think it saved me. I still don't think that I'm the favorite patient, but I think maybe for a moment, maybe I was.
Yeah.
Was
certainly in the room amongst the other patients.
Yep.
Yeah. You were killing it.
I could feel that favorite patient status slipping away?
There's this, I don't know, you yearn to be wanted and liked by these people who you see very occasionally.
I don't yearn.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You are wanted and liked by these people who you see only occasionally. My dentist office is very similar. Thank you for the correction. You're absolutely right.
No, you can yearn. It's okay.
You go ahead and yearn. But my dentist office, I know, it's weird when you know people outside of those kind of situations, because the assumption is most of the people who go and see that dentist or optometrist or whoever don't know them. I happen to know the person, that, not to brag, but I know the dentist at my dentist office, the actual woman whose name is associated with the establishment, from outside the office, and I went to school with one of the hygienists as well. So I always get that, like, you feel a little bit special. You walk in and everybody's saying hi to you on the way to the chair, and you're like, "You're damn right."
Do you
Derek
get, like,
is
a high
here.
five?
It's Derek o'clock.
Is Derek here?
Only for hygiene reasons. No, I'm gonna say.
Did Derek just walk by? Did I just see Derek
Did I
walk
see
by?
Derek? Hang on, hold this gauze. I'll be right back. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Just hold that
We'll be right back.
right there, and I'll be right back with you. It's not like they don't do that 15 times anyway when you're at the dentist,
Right.
so it's fine. But
Or an eye doctor when you're kicked off a podcast.
right.
I have to make a phone call.
I'm gonna make a hypothetical, imaginary phone call.
There was a phone right in the room. Could have used that phone.
He's already not going to be on the podcast. It's not like you're going to share the story of that phone call.
I mean, he blew it. He blew his chance
He
because
had
he
a
was
shot.
kind of mean to me, and then said that I have low pressure in my eyeballs.
You got high
Which
pressure
I thought
everywhere
was
else in your
good,
life. Yeah, I
right?
mean, you got to release that pressure somewhere. Might as well be the eyeballs.
I thought it was good, but whatever. Now I don't have to go back for a year, so that's something to look forward to, I guess.
Well, you know, the first thing he's going to say when you walk in the room, "How's the podcast going?"
Yeah.
And you're going to have to lie and
Based
say,
on this first show, I don't know. I don't know, doctor.
Can't-
You tell me.
Can't say for sure.
I have no idea. But I think, like, as I continue to rapidly age, I care less
Okay.
about what other people think.
As is your right.
Right.
Yeah.
But what has taken that place is things that I shouldn't care about at all that I do care about.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an example.
Okay.
When people park in front of my house.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Right?
Yeah. So, for some background, I have direct experience with this. I used to live in this building, out front of this building.
But in an apartment.
In an apartment.
Yeah,
It's not like a flop house.
You
No,
weren't
it's-
sleeping outside.
No. Well, not all the time. No, we used to live up front with my wife, and I have firsthand experience of this issue and how obnoxious it is, and I can relate. But continue. I'm very
It's
interested
crazy,
to hear.
right?
Yeah, it's not. Anytime parking comes into play, I think everybody has this experience. You lose your mind, and there's two sets of people. There's people who are correct, and then there's people who don't feel like where you park is important.
Or there's people that park in front of your house, and there's people who don't.
Yeah.
And when I was a little kid, my grandmother I remember, she would kneel on the back of the couch and open up the windows, like open up the curtains in her living room, and she'd say, "Who the hell is parked out front?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was maybe 10 or 11 years old. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
And it would drive her up a wall. And then my aunt would come over, and she'd say, "Did you see? There's somebody parked in front of the house." And then my mom and dad would come over after work to pick me up to bring me home, because I used to go to my grandmother's after school. Totally a story for another time,
Okay.
but whatever.
We'll put that in the show notes.
Absolutely. And my dad would say, "Who's parked in front of the house? Did you guys get a new car?" And he would, like, kind of bust their balls a little bit about it, knowing that it drove him nuts.
Yeah.
My mom didn't care.
Okay.
You know, she was like, I'll park 2 cars in front of the house if it's going to piss him off.
Right.
And it baffled me for the longest time why this is such a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So within the last few years, if I see somebody parked in front of the house, I kind of have to know who it is. Like, what their story is. Why are they there? How long are they staying?
Was there a moment where that switch flipped and you realized that it was a thing that you now not only cared about but cared pretty passionately about?
I want to say yes.
Okay.
But I don't have that.
That memory's not ringing clear.
No,
Okay.
like, I don't remember what kind of car it was. I remember it was just a car in front of the house.
Got it.
And I wanted to know why it was there. Yeah. So now what happens, I'm filled with rage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting older. Also, like, when I stand up sometimes, it sounds like somebody's making popcorn in a microwave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's, I'm embracing it.
That,
But
that sweet, sweet popcorn pop of standing. Yeah.
and then I also noticed I listen to the radio as little as possible.
Good for you.
Just because I just don't understand it anymore. It sounds like everybody's singing through their nose, and then through a machine, and then through somebody else's nose.
Right.
And I don't know, like, based on the lyrics, if they're happy or they're sad. Are they angry?
Because the phrases don't necessarily match anything that is what you would consider common vernacular.
I don't know what anybody's saying anymore.
Right.
And
Right.
let me give you an example.
Okay.
There's a phrase that I heard, and sometimes just to escape reality, I do watch some reality TV, which isn't based in reality.
Mm-hmm. You're excused.
Thank you. It's one of the housewives. I don't know which housewives were yelling, but there were some housewives yelling at one another.
Sure.
And
as they do.
somebody referred to them as some thirsty bitches.
Oh.
And
okay.
here's me thinking, are they thirsty?
Get those bitches a glass of water. Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they're thirsty.
Right.
Like, do you know what it means? Because I
have a vague understanding of the concept of being thirsty, and and
that
both,
might be all you need.
both literally and in the current way it is used. Only because I am on Twitter for my job, and also because I am a sad human and I'm on Twitter regularly. So I've seen it used in a sentence in the way that you're referring to it being used. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why it represents what it represents. My understanding is that there is a sexual longing would be, I think, a good way to put it.
Oh, wow.
So if someone is thirsty,
That makes a lot of sense.
they have a thirst, and it can only be quenched in a sexual way.
Which is one of my least favorite words.
Quenched. There is no way to say that
No.
and make your face make a non-awkward movement toward the person you're speaking to. Quenched. Everyone who's sitting at home or
Say
in the
without,
car
like,
right
kind
now.
of half vomiting.
Yeah, exactly.
half
Notice how far
laughing.
out from your own face your lips move when you say the
Quench.
word quench.
Wow.
It's really disturbing.
Have
But
you ever watched Forged in Fire?
have I watched Forged in Fire?
Yes. I'm going to give you a minute.
I have. That's like asking if I've watched the British Baking Show. Yes, I have watched
you have.
a lot of Forged in Fire.
Proudly.
And it's, you know what's funny?
They use that word a lot.
Well, what's funny is it doesn't bother me on that show.
That's exactly
Doesn't bother
my
me a
point.
bit. Quench
This
that
is the
blade.
whole reason
obviously.
we're in this room together.
Yeah,
It
obviously
is the
quench that blade.
only place in the entire world where somebody can use that word
Yeah.
and I don't get freaked out. The only other time, if it was like, say we were in, I don't know, Scandinavia.
Okay.
And it was like the Scandinavian word for candy.
I see.
You
Okay. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's so funny. I've never noticed the fact that they even use the word. Because if someone uses it in common speech, I'm going to be like, stop, please don't.
Yep.
I really prefer you didn't.
Yep.
On Forged in Fire, though, just a natural part of the show.
Yep.
Quench that blade.
Because it all comes down to the quench.
It really does. All right, Forged in Fire fandom, here we go. So, yes, it does come down to the quench.
It does.
What's amazing to me on that show, and like so many other shows that people are in multiple seasons, is the idea that these are things that have been a problem or a crucial time for everyone on the show. And yet, there are still people who are like, you know what? I'm just going to quench it in water. It's fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be
I
fine.
know better
Yep.
than all of the other people who have repeatedly
There's a
failed
panel
at
of
this.
experts.
Yep. They're wrong, though. Because you know what? Quenching it in water. It's going to be
I'm
fine.
an amateur
Right.
and I'm
Right.
on television.
Yes.
Yep.
I have been chosen. They picked me for a reason. They had to
Out
have
of-
chosen me for a reason out of literally tens of applicants.
Tens of applicants.
And I'm going to quench it in water because it'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I've never noticed the word quench and how little it bothers me on that show. That's a great... Thank you for bringing that up.
No, thank you.
For the record, not planned. We had no idea that we were both Forged
No
in Fire
idea.
fans.
No. It's something that I do kind of keep near and dear to my heart because for a few reasons. I don't want a lot of people to know that I watch that show just
Yeah.
because I know that there will be maybe 3, maybe 4 people when they find out that I do watch that show. They're going to get mad at me. How can you watch
Really?
That's exactly how they're going to say it. How can you watch that show?
So I was going to go the other way with that. I thought you were going to say there are going to be 3 or 4 people who are going to want to talk to me about it.
Oh, no. Those people are out there, too.
Okay.
I just don't know if they're friends of mine.
Sure.
I have no idea.
Because that's always my worry, is I'm going to bring up a shared passion, and then someone's going to want to talk about it. And now, depending on who that someone is, it's fine. But
Sure.
if I don't get to choose, that's problematic.
Right.
I'm excited that you like Forged in Fire. But...
I love it because there's a lot of terminology that I don't understand.
Sure.
I've got no skin in the game.
Yeah.
I don't care who wins.
Totally.
I don't care who loses.
Yep.
I do have a favorite.
Oh, of course. You pick a
Going
favorite
in,
early on. Yeah.
My favorite person has never won. My favorite person's usually the first to get kicked off the show.
Sure.
They don't even get to keep the weapon.
They don't even get to put a fucking handle on it.
They don't even
Yeah.
get to, they don't even get to keep it.
No.
Even when
Oh,
they
yeah.
win,
They
they
gotta
don't get to
turn
keep
it in.
They turn it in.
Please turn in your shitty work.
It's a liability. You want to know why it's a liability? Because early on in the show, somebody won and they took their blade home and they hurt somebody with it. The show was liable for that. I'm not even kidding. You can Google it. We don't have that kind of time on this show. We're a shoestring operation.
So the turning in the knife is the do not use this hairdryer in the tub.
Yes.
Interesting.
This toaster stays on the counter, not in your bathtub.
Right.
I like the fact that I'm not committed to the show other than, oh, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And I like when they bring them back to their garage/workshop.
They're home forged, Kelly. It's their
I'm sorry,
home forge.
See, I'm sorry. I don't have all the terminology down. I'm the first to admit that. So when they are in their home forge,
Thank you.
you get a really good idea of what these people are all about.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's not good.
No,
A lot of it's not
I
good.
love the diversity of the home forges. Some of which are actual home forges, or even like forges at their home, which are separate workspaces.
Right.
Some of them are just really hot garages.
Yep.
Or sheds.
Yep.
Or overturned boats. It's just, there's a wide range of forges. The one guy, not to get off on a tangent, like that's ever not going to happen.
Right.
But there was the guy whose coal forge that he used at home was a satellite dish. Did you see this episode?
No,
There
I
was a
missed.
gentleman who went home to his home forge and he forged exclusively in a coal forge, and it was just an upturned like DirecTV satellite dish.
They're not that big, right?
No, and that actually played into things because he had to make a long sword, and so he had to get a bigger forge. I think you will guess exactly what he did. He found a larger satellite dish.
Perfect.
And filled that with coal.
It's thinking on
and
his
put a
feet.
blower on it. And
Thinking on his
I mean,
feet.
you work with what you're comfortable with.
Did he
And
win?
You know, it's not important. It's not important.
Doesn't matter.
I don't recall, and I don't care.
Nope.
Just like you said, I'm not invested in the individuals.
In my mind, he won.
Yeah, he won the whole
Absolutely.
thing as far
Yeah,
as I'm
he's-
concerned.
That's it.
I remembered him,
He's the
so he
world
won.
champion. The one part that does unsettle me a little bit is I like when they cut open the bag of rice, like
Sure.
the blue rice.
I
flies
think I know where you're
everywhere.
going.
When they cut the meat,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a little bit off-putting. Your wife is a vegetarian, so
Yeah,
I'm sure she has to like turn away from that.
For the record, Hannah calls Forged in Fire Swords of Destiny. I'm not making that up. She'll say to me, I'm going to head upstairs. You going to stay down here, watch an episode of Swords of Destiny? And by the way, it's not Swords of Destiny.
It's
Swords of Destiny. But yes, she doesn't love the pig carcass chop.
Or the transparent human being.
The
With
transparent
all the
human being
organs?
is actually not. We've watched enough MythBusters that doesn't bother her anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But I like the fact that they're really excited by it will kill.
Yeah.
That's-
I've waited years for you to tell me it will kill. It's just a great sentence.
It's a fantastic show. I don't know if I had an original thought. I don't know how we got on that topic.
Ever? Or just as it relates to
No,
Forged in
just
Fire?
generally.
No, I think we were just talking about.
Generally.
Yeah, it's
think so.
fine. Yeah, that was one of my big worries about this is Kelly and I have had 3.5 hour single sitting conversations about, well, much like what this podcast has been about, which is to say nothing. We tend to, if we take a road trip, our wives will come along and they sit in the back seat, and Kelly and I sit in the front. And
They beg to sit in the
they
back
want,
seat.
yeah, it's
They
not,
do not
we're
wanna
not
be in the
telling
front
them
seat.
sit in the back. They're
Yeah.
like, you guys sit in front. We
Yep.
will sit in the back because
Yep.
we do not want to have any part of this repartee. Thanks very much.
It's true.
Yeah. They're great at providing snacks and support and they laugh at us from time to time.
They do.
Not with us, to be fair, but they
Right.
do laugh at us from time to time.
I remember. And for the record, you and Hannah are great to travel with.
Thank you. Likewise.
I
Michelle,
remember.
a fantastic travel.
Thank you. I do remember there was a bit of tension
Okay.
when we were in Boston
Okay.
trying to get to the Celtics game.
Ooh.
And we put on the GPS. And instead
Yeah.
of the GPS telling us where to go,
Right.
like African drumming music kept on coming on. You remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. It was comical in hindsight.
Right.
Really obnoxious at the time. And yeah, of all the places for your GPS to lose its mind, I feel like downtown Boston is clearly the best place where that could possibly happen. No, I'm sure everyone and all of the 6 people who are listening to this have been in that situation in Boston where you're trying to get anywhere and there should be a road here and instead there is a building or a giant hole. So yeah, I remember walking around Boston. There was some tension. I don't think it was certainly not intentional, and I don't think it really rested with anyone. We were all just getting annoyed at the fact that we couldn't get from our hotel, which we knew was a block and a half away from where we needed to be.
We just didn't know in which direction.
We just had no idea in which direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Country mice.
And this is true.
Yeah.
But I remember that I think I was the only one in the car who kept on laughing when the music would start playing because the GPS would offer direction like make a right on whatever street, and then the drums would kick in and the GPS would kind of cut out.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was hilarious. But I was alone in that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Michelle and I checked into the hotel, she said, "Can you do me?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Can you just turn off your phone for the night?" I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, I need a break." I said, "A break from what?" And she said, "It's just please, just turn off your phone." I'm like, "We're going to a Celtics game. I can't turn off my phone." And I think she was a little bit annoyed because you and Hannah and Michelle were all trying to figure out where we were supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like raising the volume on the African drumming music and laughing. So I think
we all have our kinks, Kelly.
Yeah, we
and,
do. We do.
You know?
I'm consistent. I try to be. Anyway, let's wrap this show up. There's
Speaking of being
things
consistent, yeah.
I want to ask you about just a
Okay.
couple things. I understand that it's only Thursday, but we did have a long holiday weekend.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best food you had in this past week?
That's a great question. I think the best thing that I had to eat, we live very close to a diner at our home, and the diner is not what I would consider high class or...
This is the Milton Diner.
This is the Milton Diner. Thank you for not pronouncing the T. Everyone in town appreciates it. The Milton Diner, and it's not high class. It's not necessarily like... it's not winning any Michelin stars, as someone who also watches a lot of Top Chef. We'll get to that.
That we have to talk about.
But they do a couple of things really well, and one of the things they do really well is dessert. We had what may have been the best carrot cake I have ever eaten.
Really?
From the Milton Diner, of all places. My apologies. The Milton Diner.
It's Milton.
And what was shocking is that it wasn't too sweet, which it seemed very counterintuitive to me from the Milton Diner. The well-proportioned frosting, and it was clearly like actual carrots, and it was just great. It was another word that people hate, alert, really moist.
Oh,
you're welcome.
My God.
You're welcome. I totally scared off half the listeners, so there's only 3 listeners left.
My God.
But it was delicious. Incredible carrot cake. How about you? Tell me about your best eating experience.
It's not the time of year for it.
Okay.
I had yesterday, although I did spill half of it on and down my shirt, corn chowder.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
A little corn chowder with potato.
Okay.
It was 95 degrees out yesterday.
I was going to say, great hot soup weather right now. Uh-huh.
I put a blanket on.
Sure.
And I, made a fire. It was at work, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but the options in the cafeteria at work on that particular day where I had to choose the corn chowder.
Sure.
The other options have left me in the past with some pretty intense levels of intestinal distress.
Gotcha.
And I didn't want that.
No. No.
So I was like, do I have
Sometimes-
stomach pain that makes me double over?
Yeah,
or do I
for the
have,
record, some days you're
something
like,
that's going to make me sweat?
today, of these options, I choose intestinal distress. Sometimes. Every now and then.
Really?
Very infrequently. But if you got nothing else going on.
Like on purpose?
I mean, if the choices are like a salad,
okay.
A pile of quinoa, this is me speaking,
Sure.
and then slight to maybe moderate intestinal distress, I might not consciously choose it, but I'm gonna eat that pizza.
Really?
That's just how I
Okay.
live my life.
I always think that it'll be different this time.
Sure, that's another
what I
way to
think.
go. That's another way to
No, it's fine
fool
this
yourself.
time.
Sure.
The last 9 times I've had it.
I imagine someone just had dirty hands those days. It's not the food;
It's
the
been
preparer.
fixed.
It's been fixed
They
since
fixed it.
they got that new
They
soap
fixed the
dispenser.
macaroni and cheese
It's
with
fine.
bacon. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, totally.
Fine now.
Gonna be fine on a sensitive stomach.
Well, this has been great. I mean, it's a first show,
Yeah,
and maybe we'll do it again.
maybe.
I feel like we should do this
If we're
again.
so motivated, we'll
Yeah.
do it again.
Couple things. If anybody wants to email us, there's a few ways you can reach us. You can reach us at bittercoffeepod@gmail.com. That's bitter and then coffee, COFFEY, pod@gmail.com. And Derek, where can you be reached?
You can get me on Twitter. My name on Twitter is @Mobydiculous.
I think it's called your handle.
Yeah,
Right?
My Twitter handle is @Mobydiculous.
Can you spell that?
Moby, MOBY, Diculous, DICKULOUS. Diculous, Mobydiculous. It's a reference to a hip hop song. We'll get into that story at some point, but I also used to have a Gmail account with that address, and I accidentally sent a work email to it when I was applying to my current job. Have I lived it down? No, I have not.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so I had a Gmail address, mobydiculous@gmail.com, and I inadvertently sent a email during the application process to the HR director at Logic Supply with that address because I didn't realize I was logged into it. I've never noticed that screen name to be, what's the word, pervy, I guess. It
has dick in it.
I know.
No.
I'm a simple man, and I don't necessarily see these things.
I
And
didn't
so,
notice it until just now.
thank you. However, of course, if you're not familiar with the Two Skinny J's, a fantastic nerd rap group from New York, you wouldn't know that reference. And so now, whenever I give out that address or that handle or that, whatever, it comes to mind. Uh-oh, I hope no one takes that the wrong way, even though I never took it the wrong way until that one day at work. Anyway, @Mobydiculous on Twitter.
Do you want to know a secret?
I do.
So, I don't know how long ago it was. It was a few months ago. I don't know why I was sending you something via email. I don't remember what it was.
I assume it was blackmail.
Yeah, it was something. It was some kind of threat.
Some sort of illicit
or
material.
something.
Yeah.
And I sent it to you at mobydiculous@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like an hour later, I got an email from you that said, I got a text from you that said, hey, never got the whatever I was sending you.
Mhm.
And I said, oh my God, I sent it an hour ago.
Hmm.
And then I looked and I sent it to a Mobydiculous, and it was MOBYDICULOUS.
Mm.
So I sent information to a stranger.
So it went through.
It went through,
Just
but
not to me.
It didn't go to you, and I panicked. So you know what I did? I can't believe I'm even admitting this.
You wrote another email, didn't you?
I did, and I said, just so you know.
Random person. Not for you.
Like, I think I might have sent you, like, credit card information or something. So I had all of my credit card numbers changed. Like, I called
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. I called my bank, and I let them know that, like, there might be a fraudulent activity.
You never shared this with me.
I've been carrying this around for, like, 3 or 4
Oh, my
months.
God. That must have been weighing on you.
I pretty much forgot about it until now. Like, it weighed on me for maybe 90 minutes. Because that's how long it takes to change all of your stuff.
I can't believe
Doesn't
I
take long at
inadvertently
all.
forced you to go through that, and I apologize.
No, it was my own fault for not checking your email address before sending something to you.
That screen name ruins lives.
And I can't remember what it was. It was something. I don't remember what it was, but
It might have been ticket, like, buying information or something like that, or it was, like, receipt for the Celtics game or something.
I don't know what it was. But yeah, I was in a panic.
It's hilarious in hindsight. I feel terrible for having to have you go through that.
No, I probably shouldn't have brought it up. Now I feel bad.
We can cut it out.
No, I say
Magic
we-
of editing.
I say we keep it in.
Okay. That's what she said. Yes.
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 Not see that one coming. This has been
That's
great.
what she said.
This is
Boom.
It's
Double down.
like a lightning
Boom.
round.
Boom.
If that's what she said. This has been a lot of fun. I had a great time with you.
Likewise. This is great. Let's do this again sometime.
I think we should do this again.
I don't know. I'm thinking next week. Our intro and outro music is Hold Me Down by John Worthy and the Bends. Kelly, it's been a pleasure potting with you.
Likewise, my friend.
Talk to you again soon.
See you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.